One of the most important questions that I've ever asked myself in regards to changing my health and my diet is why. I started my channel considering this question. At the time, I wasn't raw vegan, but I was very heavily interested in the diet. And to move myself from omnivore to raw vegan, I kept asking myself this question. Now, it took me years. Now, I had several spurts of being raw vegan, but it was never a long-term experience until finally one of my whys broke. And I'm going to share with you right now what that why was that I asked myself. So stay tuned. Hello, my optimal health peeps. Welcome to Raw Vegan Food Diet, and welcome back if you've been here before. If you like this video, I'm going to go ahead and suggest that you share it with someone that you feel that this information could help. And hit the like button, and also leave a comment if you find you have something interesting and helpful to share with the community. So let's get started. All right, so let's start kind of from the beginning. Not the beginning, but a beginning, okay? I always felt like I was vegan when I turned vegan, right? And you can watch my video, I'm almost 10 years vegan, but cooked vegan, to be clear. But once I became vegan, I always felt like I was vegan. Why? Because I always felt like I had a call of eating this type of diet without meat. And I just didn't feel like I was ready to let go of red meat yet. So I continued eating these things. And quite frankly, I didn't really like it, right? It was part of it was I liked it because of the comfort. Like any bad habit, it's predictable. And even that predictability, even though it may feel bad to certain things, maybe your health, maybe your psyche, your integrity, who you feel like you're really supposed to be, you'll just keep doing the thing anyway. A lot of us have experience with that where we want to change, but it feels more comfortable for us to just stay the same, right? So I had a lot of that going on. But inwardly, I really didn't like eating animal products. And you can see that in one of my videos. I express the real reason why I went vegan. You know, we all have our reasons, but that was one of the main reasons. So I became interested in the raw vegan diet because I noticed that there were levels. After being cooked vegan for some years, I realized that there were levels to health. You know, there was levels to this whole thing. And even though I was vegan, I was still able to eat a lot of processed food. I think one of the last things I was eating before I went vegan was Domino's pizza for dinner. So you can imagine, right? Domino's pizza, Whole Foods, okay? It's just, you know, where does the leap come from? And I wasn't getting all of the health benefits that I feel like I deserved. You know, I saw a lot of people that were raw vegan expressing things that I really, really wanted to accomplish, like things with monthly periods, painlessness. Some people even cure cancer, if you could believe it. And some people changed their eye color. You know, it was just a lot of things that I had never heard of a doctor even really talking about or suggesting was possible for me. You know, say for the so-called period-free contraception stuff or hormonal tinkering stuff that, you know, my parents have told me not to even try when I was younger. So that wasn't even an open thing that I wanted to do or felt that I could do as far as to eliminate the period or push it back or period pain or anything like that. So I'm still not, but I was not very well experienced or well versed in taking birth control to stop a period. So anyway, so all of these claims that I've seen through raw vegans, it really intrigued me for years. I had to let it set in. Why? Because a lot of us, not just myself, we have a habit. We have an eating habit that runs deep. It's not just our own. We get it from social cues. We get it from the government. Get it from, television, and also we're trying to rewire or re-brainwash the way we have taught or learned that our bodies need certain foods or nutrients. You might be think that you're craving bread, but what are you really craving? I had to really know this for myself and not just parrot someone else on a YouTube channel, and that took a little time, because one of my programs was bread equals home, because one of my parents was very good at baking bread, fresh bread, and me eating that equated to home. So that's a very strong nostalgia pact or whatever, or social comfort, that if I mess with that or take that away, how would I feel? So it's not even about nutrients. It's all intertwined, interwoven or whatever with your emotions. And so it's not just you feeling nurtured or nourished in your physical body. It's all type of mental, psychological things as well that you really feel like you need safety with, and you're not willing to part with that. But even that aside, my why. I've been asking myself why for the longest as I'm looking at these raw vegans, and they seem to be thriving, and the science seems to match, so it's not like I'm just a looky-loo, with a whole bunch of liars, just running around in the sunshine, picking flowers, picking sprouts or mushrooms or whatever in the wild. The science even seemed to back it. I watched a few documentaries, just like I did before going vegan, and a lot of the raw vegan things seem extremely promising, even with something that another thing was supposed to be incurable, which was diabetes. And there's a documentary out there for that one. And I watched that years ago. So a lot of this information and time, I was just rewiring my brain. Okay. So sometimes change feels overnight, but you can see the prep work and the allowance for new information and rewiring of your brain, right? So it took some prep time, if I'm honest, okay? I had to prep my brain, like, okay, that's not crazy. I could just drink water in a full day and that's fine. Well, that's not crazy, So a lot of fasts, a lot of short spurts of raw vegan, which was super, super cool, because the experience and these challenges taught me personally what my body was capable of, what my mind was capable of. I was clear. I didn't starve to death, you know. So, educating my mind, that was very, very important. Now, I did a year fully raw, and you probably already saw this video. If you haven't, you can check my channel out for that. And I wanted more results. I had some results, but I wanted more results, and I wanted consistent results. If I was really going to give this a shot, I wanted to either eliminate my period pain or eliminate my period altogether. And you can watch some of my videos on that, on how that's actually safe for some people, and it's not negative, but to each their own. But I had a huge goal in my mind, to do that. So I just went forward and I told myself, now this is the why. I asked myself, don't you deserve it? And I promise you, every time I asked myself that throughout the year of raw, and sometimes it switched, the energy was always the same, but it was always, for a year, don't you deserve it? Like, can you not do a year? Can you not see this through? And the answer was always yes. That's the key. The answer was always yes. So put the BS aside. I already had the tools. I already had the channel. I already had the education, that wasn't quite long-term experiential, but I had short-term experience, so I wouldn't freak out, and believe I'm undernourished or getting to crackish levels of weight or whatever the case is, these things, that we're taught about people that just only eat vegetables, I had to retrain my mind. And I even began working out. That was another thing. I thought that raw vegans would just have a lot of muscle wasting. And I just did a video about that. So as you can see, a lot of the things I had to do myself, but I did take a lot of time. I'm serious about this, about watching others, listening to others that have already been down a similar road. And I was getting tools and tips and a different type of education and exposure to a way of life that I feel was always meant for me. Now, I always look at the colors of the rainbow in the food, and it just made sense to me. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you and you look at a cow's ass and you go, yum, as a kid, I've always thought, let me put a stick of butter on a cow's ass and grill it. This is not the channel for you, obviously. But for me, the fruits and the vegetables, the nuts and the seeds and the sprouts, it always made sense. Now, I did say I had a slight addiction, and that was to red meat. Never had two eyes, never had a snout, never anything looking back at me. And that's an education, right? And it had to be called beef, right? We call something cow's ass well done. Who's going to eat it, right? Or who can really bypass that? So again, that comes with the reprogramming, because I wouldn't say a meat and potatoes person, but it was a meat, a steak person. And I always felt satisfied physically, mentally at the time, but except for digestion. Maybe I'll do a video about that. But yeah, so, relearning myself in this journey has really taught me a lot about what is possible. And I know that if you've watched this video this far, you're also interested. And if you need any help, check the description. I do one-on-ones at the moment, and I have some great necessary tools, I would say, to start. I needed these tools, like understanding what type of nutrients a raw vegan would need, and also some nice tools. Once you get your mindset right, as I always say, some nice kitchen tools that are very reliable, very strong, and you can get some really, really good recipes, like on a daily basis. One of them is one of my blenders, my favorite blenders in my store. So my Amazon storefront. So check that out at your leisure. And again, focus on your why that is going to move your booty out of the old chair and into the new optimal health chair. Why? What could you ask yourself? What could be the reason? Because as you can see, obviously for me, it must have been, I would say it's a self-esteem thing, but it was definitely an identity thing. How did I identify? I identified that this diet is for certain type of people. This diet is for people that live in the tropics. This diet is for people that don't love meat, or don't have the affinity to steaks as I do. This is for people that don't mind looking skinny. And there are some heavy set, strangely enough, heavy set, not so strange when you learn, about the diet more, but heavy set and very bulky muscled, physically fit, raw vegans, if you can believe it. So it all exists. And again, re-education comes from you wanting to identify differently. So if you're finally ready to identify differently and you want to take your life and your optimal health into your own hands, visit my links in the description, share this video again, and I love you guys, and I will be back with another important healthful video. Bye.